go to bed early during the fourth quarter of last night's Rams Seahawks game? Missed the ending? Well, if you did, you missed a hell of a finish. We're going to recap last night's Seahawks Rams big time NFC West divisional game, and going to go look at the implications of last night's outcome today. Plus, it is Pick'em Friday. I will give you my picks for the 4 first round college football playoff matches that one's tonight, the other 3 are tomorrow afternoon. And I will pick the remaining NFL games for week 16. We're going to do all that today here in the Total Sports Ozone. Big O with the big mouth coming at you on a Pick'em Friday, December 19th, 2025. We are only 6 days away from the big day. And I hope you got all your Christmas shopping done. I know I haven't. But I'll try to get to it sometime this weekend. Anyway, let's get into it. Last night, big time game, big time matchup, and it did not disappoint. Rams and Seahawks, pretty much the 2 best teams, if not the best teams, in not just the NFC, but all of the NFL. Went at it last night in Seattle, and I have to admit, when the Rams went up by 16 points in the fourth quarter, and Sam Darnold threw that interception with just under 10 minutes remaining, I turned it off. I was going to bed. I was going to go to bed. I was going to well, excuse me. I thought Rams got him again. But I was looking at my Twitter feed and I was looking at my Facebook feed, and game wasn't over yet. So I turned it back, and lo and behold, excuse me. Lo and behold, the Seahawks are only down by 8, and they got the ball and they're driving. I'm like, whoa, what happened? Then they scored a touchdown. And then the craziest 2-point conversion you'll probably ever see. I know you've seen it. I've seen it. The ball was ruled excuse me. The ball was ruled a back lateral or a backwards pass that was deflected. So the ball was ruled live. It tumbled in the end zone, and the Seahawks player just picked it up and happened to be in the end zone. And the referees gave them the 2 points. And that tied the game. I was like, wow. I was like, probably all of y'all thinking the Seahawks were dead. I thought, excuse me, slight cold. I was thinking the Seahawks were dead. Down 16. They didn't look, they weren't looking really good offensively. Sam Darnold had just thrown his second of the 2 interceptions. I'm thinking, well, Rams got him. And then this happened. And Sam Darnold, I don't know, he turned into Superman in that fourth quarter. He couldn't be stopped. I believe he threw for 91 yards after the interception. And we're talking about they only had less than 10 minutes remaining in regulation. And he was like 8 of 12 for 91 yards after he threw that interception. And then in overtime, as you know, if you don't know, if the team with the ball scores first and the touchdown, the other team, or a field goal, the other team will get one possession to try to even the score. So the Rams, they pretty much couldn't be stopped all night. The Rams could not be stopped. Seattle had no answers for the Rams offense all night long, to the tune of almost 600 yards total offense generated by the Rams. So they went downfield with the ball and scored a touchdown. I'm thinking, okay, all they need to do is get a stop, and they'll come out on top on this one. Seahawks, I have to give it up to the Seattle Seahawks, and particularly Sam Darnold. His never never quit, and resilience to lead this team back. It's why he won all those games last year at Minnesota. And he's doing the same thing here. But my problem with Sam Darnold was he couldn't win the big game. That was the problem he had in Minnesota. He could not win the one, that one. He could win a lot of games, but he couldn't win. I thought he couldn't win that game, that key game, especially in the regular season, to get his team over the hump. Well, he did it last night. He led him back downfield, scored a touchdown, short touchdown pass to Jackson Smith and Jigma, and then I thought it was the gutsiest call of the night, going for that 2-point conversion in overtime to win the game. Because they don't get it, they lose. They don't get that 2-point conversion, they lose. They kick the point after, it's all, and then for the remaining period of that overtime, which I think there was like 3 minutes and 40-something seconds left, for the remainder of that period, sudden death. And I think my reasoning behind the Seahawks going for 2 and trying to get the win at that moment, they knew their defense could not stop the Rams. They hadn't done it all night. So if they end up tying the game with the point after, and chances are the Rams are going to go right back downfield and at the very least get in field goal range. They had 3 minutes left and they had 2 timeouts. It would have been easy for them to go downfield, get in field goal range, and kick the game-winning field goal. Even though their kicker missed a potential game-winning field goal in regulation, if y'all remember. But I think the Sam Darnold and the coaching staff of the Seahawks thought, we might as well try to end this right now because we don't want to put the ball back in their hands. The way they have been going, their offense, the way they were cooking, there's probably no way this game is going to end up in a tie. They're probably going to go downfield, either score a touchdown or kick the field goal to win the game. So they went for 2, and they got it. And they won. The Seahawks come back from 16 points down in the fourth quarter and pick off the Rams 38-37 in overtime. It was a great finish, and if you stayed up to watch the whole game, you have to admit this was probably one of the best games of the season. You have to admit that. It was probably one of the best, if not the best, games of the season, considering what was on the line. The winner of this game has an inside track to not only the NFC West, but possibly home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs. And now that is squarely in the Seahawks' hands now. They control their own destiny as far as playoff position. The Seahawks have, with the win, the Seahawks clinched the playoff spot. The Rams are now 1 game back with 2 games remaining. So it's going to be a dogfight. The Seahawks are not home free yet. Don't get it twisted now. The Seahawks are not home free yet. They still got a doozy of a game to play against the San Francisco 49ers. Let's not forget about them. They still got to play the 49ers last game of the season at San Fran. So it's not going to be a little easy cakewalk for the Seahawks for the division and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They still got to see those 49ers. but they have the inside track as of right now. Because all they have to do is win out, or San Fran loses one game. Excuse me. So if they win out or San Fran loses one of the remaining, at least two, I think, of the remaining three games, San Fran, Seattle will not only get the division title, but they'll be having home field throughout the NFC playoffs. So there was a huge comeback win last night for the Seattle Seahawks. And my kudos to Sam Darnold, to the coaching staff for having the guts to go for two and win the game in overtime. They could have easily kicked the point after and then prayed their defense got to stop. And quite frankly, if they did, this game could have possibly ended in a tie. But they went for the win. They were at home. They went for it, and they got it. So my hat's off to the Seattle Seahawks for having the guts to go for two with the game on the line. That takes a lot of you-know-what, cojones, whatever you want to call it. That's what that was. Rams, what can you say? They're the first team, if I'm not mistaken, they are the first team to lose a game while having over 500 yards total offense. Excuse me. While having over 500 yards total offense. The Rams had 581 yards total offense. I mean, Matthew Stafford, he threw for 457 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, he is far and away the leading candidate for league MVP this year. I don't think there's anybody even close. I really don't. Maybe Josh Allen, maybe Drake May, maybe. But the way, maybe Dak Prescott, but the thing is, the Cowboys probably will not make the playoffs. So it is no doubt Matthew Stafford's MVP to lose. But that has to be a heartbreaking defeat for the Rams to generate all that offense and still come out on the short end. So what does that say about the Rams' chances moving forward? I still like the Rams as far as my favorite to make it to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. I still like them because it took a Herculean effort from the Seahawks to even get the game tied. And the Rams know they left some plays out there. They missed the field goal that could have won the game. they on defense, they left some plays out there they knew they shouldn't have. Special teams, again, they missed the field goal that would have won the game. In my opinion, they would have won the game for the Los Angeles Rams. So they know they let one get by them. But it was a big one. It was a huge one. No doubt. It was a huge one. So where does that leave us at the NFC? Well, everybody else still got their games to play this weekend. But right now, Seattle has clinched the playoff berth. Seattle and the Rams are the only ones so far in the NFC that have clinched playoff berths. You got the Bears. Right now, the Seahawks are the 1 seed with the Bears, Eagles, and Tampa Bay Bucks all behind them. The Rams drop all the way to the 5th seed with the 49ers and Green Bay Packers right behind them. So, with yesterday's outcome, here are a couple of teams in the NFC that need wins this weekend. I mean, they cannot afford to lose. One of them, the Detroit Lions. They are sitting at 8th spot at 8-6. They are one and a half games behind the Green Bay Packers for that 7th spot. Packers and the Bears play tomorrow. The Lions, if they want to have any shot of making the playoffs, they have to win out. They cannot afford to lose. They can't lose another game. My problem with the Lions is, of course, their defense. On the road, their defense has been shaky at best. On the road. At home, they can beat anybody. Really. I think they only lost one game at home, and that was the Green Bay. That was in Green Bay. On the road, the defense tends to lax, as you saw last week against when they played the Rams. Their defense is not up to par on the road. At home, they can beat anybody. They're at home this weekend against the Steelers. They need this win just to keep themselves and have a shot. They lose, they're probably out. If they lose this game this weekend, they'll probably be out, eliminated. Not just from the NFC North, probably from playoff contention. They probably won't be able to get a wild card spot. So the Detroit Lions need to get this win this weekend. And they'll be at home against the Steelers. I'll make my picks for that game later on. Another team that needs a win this weekend, well, it goes without saying, the Carolina Panthers. Do they need to win this weekend to stay on pace with the Tampa Bay Bucks? Guess what? The Bucks and the Panthers will be playing each other this weekend. This game could possibly determine who will be the NFC South representative in the playoffs. Remember, and don't think there's any chance either one of those two teams will make any as a wild card. I seriously doubt that will happen. The only way either one of those teams, the Panthers or the Buccaneers, will get in to the NFC playoffs is by winning the division. And as you know, win the division, you get a home playoff game. The Panthers have been up and down this year. They've had some pretty decent wins. They beat Green Bay in Green Bay. They beat Philly. They beat Green Bay. They've had some pretty good wins. But they've also had some really bad losses. Got stomped by Buffalo. They got picked off by the Saints last week. So they've been up and down like a yo-yo. But so have the Bucks. The Bucks were up, and then they were down. So these two teams, the Panthers, they have been scratching and clawing for respectability the last 3 years. They've been scratching and clawing for respectability. Well, here's the chance to get it. You'll be at home playing your divisional rival for the top spot in the NFC South. You got to get this win. If you're the Panthers, you got to get it. That's another team that needs a win this weekend. I believe whoever loses this game, they're in trouble. Let's just face it, they're in trouble. These two teams played each other twice over the last 3 weekends. So this game, whoever wins this game, you're controlling your own destiny. As far as winning the NFC South, you're controlling your own destiny. Panthers need this win because like I said, they're trying to get back to respectability, as I would say. And they've been trying, scratching, and clawing for the past 3 seasons. But this is a chance to do it. So the Panthers, And you're at home. You're at home in front of your home crowd. This is your chance. You need to get this win. One more team that needs to get a win this weekend in the NFC. One team that needs to get a win, you would have to say the 49ers. They need to keep pace. 49ers need to keep pace with the Seahawks and the Rams. Remember, the 49ers need to win these next two games just to be able to have a chance to win the NFC West. They need to win out, pretty much, for the 49ers to win the NFC West and possibly get home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs. They need to win out. They need to win out. They have the Colts at home this weekend. Actually they go to Indianapolis. Now, Indianapolis, that's a team that's beatable. They're starting Old Man Rivers, and they're a little banged up. So 49ers, they need to get their win on the road. Basically, they need to win out. Their last three games, not easy at all. Got to go to Indianapolis, who's fighting for a playoff position themselves. Then they come home for the Bears. And the last game of the season at home will be against Seattle. So they have a tough road, the San Francisco 49ers. But they can show the league, the whole world, what they're capable of if they can win these last three games and steal the NFC West and possibly home field advantage. So those three teams need wins this weekend. Week 16. Those three teams, the Detroit Lions, Carolina Panthers, and the San Francisco 49ers. Those three teams need victories this weekend. Any one of those three, the 49ers, they're still safe as far as getting in a playoff berth. But if they lose, their chances of winning the NFC West probably would be down to minimum. Got to be less than 10%. The Detroit Lions, if they lose, their chances of winning, of getting to a playoff spot, probably are gone. I would have to say they're gone. Carolina Panthers, if they lose, they don't control their own destiny, and then they definitely will need to win out. Like I said, for the Carolina Panthers, they have to win to keep controlling their destiny and gain that respectability that they have been clawing for the past 3 years. This can go a long way towards getting that respectability if they can get this win this weekend. We'll see how it plays out for these three teams. But those three teams need wins, in my opinion. Those are the three teams that need wins the most this weekend in Week 16 of the NFL. Big O with the big mouth, Total Sports Ozone. So now it is time for Pick'em Friday, where I make my picks for this weekend's games. And as you all know, college football playoff starts tonight with a very, very big time matchup between Alabama and Oklahoma. That game is tonight, and the other three games will be tomorrow. So it's time to make my picks. I've been floating about making my picks all week. Well, it's time to make my picks. So let's start with the game tonight. Alabama on the road at Oklahoma. This is the 8-9 matchup in the college football playoff bracket. You got Oklahoma favored by 1.5, depending on what betting service or sports book that you use. I'm not going to let you know what sports book I'm using. But as you know, I bet using the spread and the over under. This has been agonizing for me. Really. These are I would have to say two evenly I wouldn't say evenly matched on offense. On defense, I have to give the advantage to Oklahoma. Their defense has been a lot more consistent over the year, even though they've had a couple of hiccups. Mainly the Texas game and the Red River. But for the most part, their defense has been pretty consistent. Neither team can run the ball worth a damn. That's just the way I see it. Neither team can run or has been running the ball worth a damn the last few weeks. They haven't. Y'all know Alabama didn't even get positive yardage the last time they played the SEC championship. They were like -3 yards. So I don't expect either team to be running the ball. I said this Monday, I believe, when I previewed this game. I said it's going to come down to quarterback play. The team whose quarterback makes the least amount of mistakes in this game is the team that's going to win it. You got John Lateer for Oklahoma. You got Kyle Simpson for Alabama. The team who's the quarterback who makes the least amount of mistakes. We're talking about turnovers. We're talking about bad passes. We're talking about errant throws. We're talking about all that. The quarterback that makes the least amount of mistakes will win this game. My money is, well, like I said, I've agonized about this. Alabama, if LeBeer, the coach, Alabama, he can't lose to Oklahoma for a third time in a year. He can't. His seat is already a little warm. I mean, the coach is following the legendary Nick Saban. He's already lost 7 games in 2 years. Nick Saban lost a grand total. Nick Saban lost a grand total of his time in Alabama 8 games. 8. In all the years he was in Oklahoma, at Alabama, he only lost 8 games. The Bears already lost 7 in 2 years. If he loses this game, it will be 8. You're talking about that seat getting warm. Ooh-wee! He's gonna need to wear icy. He's gonna have to put icy hot on this booty for a while, just to sit down. He's gonna need icy hot. No, he ain't gonna need icy hot. He gonna just need ice. He gonna need a big block of ice on his rear end just to sit down if they lose this game. But because of their inability to run the ball, and when you're on the road, you have to be able to run the ball. Period. Point blank and period. You have to be able to run the ball, especially when you are on the road team and you're going into a hostile environment. Big time matchup like this, prime time. Oklahoma, I'm pretty sure Memorial State is going to be just out of their mind. You have to be able to run the ball. You got to keep the clock, to keep the chains moving, to keep that clock running, to give the other team fewer possessions. And Alabama just simply doesn't run the ball well. I think they're like 117th in the nation in rushing. And because of that, I don't see, and I'm pretty sure Oklahoma's up there in run defense. They don't allow too many teams to go off on them running the ball. And that alone, right there, is why I have to lean towards Oklahoma in this matchup. Alabama has to show that they can run the ball, and they haven't. So I have to give my pick on this game to Oklahoma, and minus the 1.5. And I'm gonna go under on the over/under. I don't think this is gonna be a very high scoring matchup. I think it's gonna be tough, physical, but I think it's just the fact that, like I said, quarterback that makes the least amount of mistakes will win this game. I think Letier, he won't make as many mistakes as Simpson will, and the fact that Alabama just can't run the ball very well, I have to give the nod to Oklahoma. So give me Oklahoma minus the 1.5, and I go under on the over under of 40.5. That game's tonight, 8 o'clock. The next college football playoff matchup will be the 10 seed Miami heading to College Station to take on the 7 seed Texas A&M. Got A&M favored by 3.5 with an over under 48.5. Well, you cannot count on if you're A&M. Nothing beat. You better remember this. Nothing beats experience. Not much beats experience. Carson Beck is not new to this. The Miami quarterback. He's not new to this. He won a national title with Georgia a few years back. He's been to the playoffs a couple of times. He knows what this is all about. He knows the ins and outs of playing in a college football playoff. So, like I said, nothing beats experience. Texas A&M is new to this. Really, both teams are new to this, but when you have a quarterback that has experience in this situation, that's a slight advantage. However, playing in Kyle Field with 110,000 people rocking and rolling, that stadium is going to be rocking and rolling. It's going to be tough for Miami. It's really going to be tough. And I'm pretty sure they're going to have to prepare for the noise, how loud it's going to be. I'm pretty sure they prepared for that. And if they don't, they better. They better. Because it will be loud. We're talking about 110, 112,000 people going to be packed in that stadium tomorrow. You better be prepared. You better be prepared. And it is one of the toughest environments to try to win you. But I haven't liked Texas A&M's offense the last couple of weeks. So their last two games, like I said, it took a Herculean effort to come back from 27 points down to beat South Carolina because of the mistakes and inability and bad play by Reed, the quarterback. And then they didn't look good at all against Texas. The offense looked very pedestrian at best against Texas. Now Miami has been rolling ever since they lost to SMU. Their offense has been clicking on all cylinders. They've reduced their turnovers. They're running the ball very well, very effectively, and like I said, on the road in the playoffs, you better be able to run the ball. You have to be able to run the ball, control that line of scrimmage, especially if you're the road team. You have to do that to give the other team less possessions and to quiet that crowd. Now, my key to this game is Miami needs to get out to an early lead. They can't fall 1-2 scores behind early in the game. They can't do that. They have to get out to early and put some to that crowd. That's my only way I'm seeing Miami coming out on top of this one. But it's Kyle Field, Texas A&M. They're at home. It's going to be jacked. I have to go with A&M on this one. So give me Texas A&M minus the 3.5. And I'm going to go over on the over-under 48.5. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I really do. I'm not sold on neither team's defense. I just ain't. I'm not sold on neither team's defenses at all. So I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I would be somewhere in the neighborhood 31-24, something like that. 35 to 30, something in that area. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring affair with A&M coming out on top late. So A&M minus the 3.5. I'll go over on the over under 48.5. Big O with the big mouth. Total Sports Ozone. Oh yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will appreciate it very much. Next college football playoff game would matches number 20, the 20 seed, or ranked 20th, but in the rankings, but they are I believe the 11th seed, Tulane, going to Ole Miss, who is the 6th seed. Ole Miss is favored by 17.5 with an over under 57.5. Well, you can look at it as two ways. Ole Miss whooped Tulane already this year. I already did that. But that was with Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin ain't coaching this game. How's that going to affect its players? Are they going to be able to keep it on like they've been doing most all year? Or will Lane Kiffin not being there, how will it affect the play? How will it affect the play call? That's the question that I'm pretty sure a lot of Ole Miss fans are going to be looking for answers to. How will the Lane Kiffin saga affect these kids going into this playoff game? I know it's Tulane, but still, this is now the college football playoff. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. So that's what I'm looking for to see how this will affect those kids. All this Lane Kiffin drama. How will it affect their play? Will they just be able to keep steamrolling teams like they've been doing, or will it have some kind of negative effect on them? We'll find out. We'll find out tomorrow. However, Tulane, maybe they've learned their lessons. Maybe they haven't. I guess we'll find out. I don't think so. I'll take Ole Miss and the 17.5. Yes, I think this is going to be a blowout. A big time blowout. So, give me Ole Miss, and I'll take the 17.5. I don't think Tulane will cover. Over under 57.5. I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over on this one. I think I'll take the over on this one. I think it's going to be a nice high scoring affair. But again, the question remains on this one. How will that Lane Kiffin saga affect these kids? We'll find out tomorrow. That game's at 3:30 Eastern. The A&M Florida Miami matchup is at noon Eastern. And the final first round game will be James Madison, the 12th seed, heading all the way to Eugene to take on the Oregon Ducks. Oregon is favored by 20.5, over under 45.5. Oregon should win this in a walk. They really should. They're at home at night. Autzen Stadium, as loud as that place gets. They should win this. All Oregon should have to do in this game is show up. Show up, kick the ball, don't turn the ball over, win the game. That's all they should have to do. But like I said, this is the college football playoff. We don't know. We don't know. But it should be an easy win for them. However, I don't think they're going to win by 20. So give me Oregon to win the game, but I think James Madison going to have enough chutzpah, enough intestinal fortitude to at least cover. Again, Oregon to win, I'll take James Madison to cover the 20.5 point spread. That's right. I think they'll cover it. Over under 45.5, I'll take the over on it. I think it's going to be a nice little high scoring affair. Well, higher scoring than a lot of people will give James Madison credit for. I think they're going to pull a few points on that board. I don't think it'll be enough to win. I don't think James Madison has enough speed to keep up with the Oregon Ducks. But I think they'll put some points up on the board. So, again, Oregon to win, James Madison to cover. 20.5 point spread. So, those are my picks for the college football playoff first four. What do you think? Have I made the right picks? Should I change some picks? What do you think? Let me know. Drop a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Oh, yeah, and I am on TikTok and Instagram at Total Sports Ozone. Now, let's move on to Week 16, the remaining games in Week 16 of the NFL. So, we got 2 Saturday games. Yes, now that college football season is winding down, the NFL throws some games on Saturdays now. Just to keep you entertained. So, we got 2 Saturday games. First one will be in Washington, where the Philadelphia Eagles will be taking on the Commanders. Philly's favored by 7 with an over-under 44.5. Well, I know one team that's going to be watching this game with bated breath, and that's the Dallas Cowboys. If the Eagles win this game, Cowboys are done. So I know they're going to be watching this game with bated breath, and I never thought I would say it. I'm pretty sure a lot of Cowboys fans are going to be hating to say this. I bet you they're rooting for the Commanders. I bet you tomorrow all the diehard Cowboys fans will be rooting for the Commanders tomorrow. Because if the Eagles, like I said, if the Eagles win, the Cowboys are out. They're done. Their season is over. They cannot make the playoffs. They're already eliminated from wild card spot. And if the Eagles win this game, if they win any of their last 3 games, any one of them, the Cowboys cannot catch them for the division title. And that's the only way the Cowboys can get in is win the division. So, I'm pretty sure that a lot of Cowboys fans are going to be, for at least tomorrow, going hail to the Redskins and all that stuff. But I don't think it's going to happen. Even with the Eagles' problems on offense, and let's face it, they're not going to sell me that fool's gold thinking the 31-0 beatdown they gave to the Raiders solved their problems. It might have showed them some things they can do on offense. Maybe they can make a few tweaks, some changes. But I don't think it's going to solve their problems. I mean, this is the Raiders. So, however, the Commanders are a banged up, beat up bunch. They are. They've been like that all year. That's why they've had such a down year. They've just been banged up and beat up. And it's sad, really, because a lot of people thought the Commanders could take that next step this year. But it looks like they take a step back. That being said, I like the Eagles in this one. It is, but this is a divisional game. So, I like the Eagles, but I like the Commanders to cover. I think it's going to be a close game. So, give me the Eagles to win. I think the Commanders will cover the 7-point spread. I think it'll be their Eagles will win probably by maybe anywhere from 3 to 5 points, something like that. But I don't think they'll cover the 7 points. Over under 44.5. I'm gonna go take the under on this one. I still ain't sold on the Phillies' problems on offense. I don't think they've solved them by beating the Raiders. So I'll take the under 44.5. I'll take the under on that over under. So again, Philly to win, Washington to cover. That game's at 5 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. And the other Saturday game will be big time NFC North matchup. Green Bay against the Chicago Bears. Now, these two teams played about, I think, a week or so ago. Where Green Bay, with a late interception, hung on and beat the Bears 28-21. Well, here's the rematch. This time in Chicago. Chicago's favored by 1.5. 1.5 with an over under 46.5. This is the Bears' chance to show that they've arrived. This is Caleb Williams' chance to show he's arrived. The Bears defense. This is their chance to show that they have arrived. Here we are. We are here now. Yes, now you got to deal with it. This is their chance. And they're home. Windy City. Homie cold. All that good stuff. This is their chance. And the Packers will be without their best defensive player and one of their best offensive players, Watson. So they're catching the Green Bay Packers at a slight disadvantage. This is their chance. Do I think they can do it? They can run the ball. They got two good running backs, and DeAndre Swift and the rookie Carl Manunga. So as long as they keep Green Bay at bay on the ground, they got a chance. I think they can do this. And if they do it, they got the inside track for the NFC North title. Give me the Bears minus the 1.5. I think the Bears will win this game outright. Again, Caleb Williams, Chicago Bears, this is your chance to show we are here. And I think they'll take full advantage of it. Give me the Bears minus 1.5. I'm going to go under on the over-under of 46.5. I don't think it's going to be a very high scoring affair, though. So, Bears minus 1.5. That game is 8:20 tomorrow Eastern. Tomorrow. Now, we're going to the Sunday slate. We got the Chargers heading to Arlington to take on the Cowboys. Cowboys can, by the time this game is played, the Cowboys will probably already know if their season's over or not. So, Cowboys are favored by 2.5 with over under 49.5. It's hard to gauge this game because, like I said, I don't know how the Cowboys are going to approach this game depending on what happens between the Eagles and the Commanders. Again, the Eagles win, Cowboys are done. They're out. So how would they approach it? I mean, let's think about it like this. If the Cowboys are done, would they start all their starters? Especially on offense. What would they have to play for? Playoff draft positioning? No. It's hard to gauge this one. However, I don't like Cowboys defense. Their defense went back to being hot garbage. That's what it is. It's hot garbage. Hot garbage on a cold day, and you standing right next to it, and you can with the brisk wind, and you can still smell it. That's how hot that garbage is. I don't like it. Give me the Chargers, and I'll take the 2.5. I'm gonna go over on the over under 49.5. Though I believe if the Cowboys do start all they started, depending on the outcome of the Eagles Commanders, I believe they'll put up some points. They always do, but their defense is going to give up just as many, maybe more, probably more than the Cowboys will be able to score. So I got to take the Chargers. I'm sorry, but I have to. The Cowboys defense is back to being hot garbage. And for a few weeks, it went up to mediocre. Now it's back to hot garbage. So, yep. I'll take the Chargers plus the 2.5, and I'll go over under 49.5. Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern, that game. Next, got the Vikings and the New York Giants. Two teams are just playing out the stream. Got the Vikings favored by 2.5 with an over under of 43.5. I don't even know why the Giants will play Jackson Dart. They need to. I really don't. They're not playing for anything. This game is meaningless. Why play your future QB? I know he's a rookie, but why would you risk him getting injured? I mean, he's taking a beating this year. With the way he's been playing, the hits he's taken, he's already had one concussion. Why would you risk? I wouldn't play him. I just would not play Jackson Dart in this game. This game is meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. So why would you risk getting your basically the future of your franchise hurt any more than he has been in a game that's really meaningless? I don't think I would start him. I wouldn't. Maybe I'd let him play a little bit in the second, third, maybe third, second half, maybe. But I wouldn't start him because this game's meaningless. Neither one of these teams are going anywhere. That being said, I like the Vikings minus the 2.5 with the over under. I'll take the under on the 43.5. I just think Minnesota has just a little bit more talent on their team than the Giants does. That's the only reason why I'm taking them. I'll take the Vikings minus the 2.5. That game is again 1:00 Eastern. Next, we got the Buffalo Bills heading to Northeast Ohio to take on the Cleveland Browns. Bills are favored by 10.5 with an over under 41.5. There's no. I said this before. I said this a long time ago. Ain't no way in hell I'm betting on the Browns ever for the rest of the season. Ain't no way. I want Shadur Sanders to succeed. I want him to do good, but there ain't no way the Browns are beating the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are here. The Bills are here. The Browns are way down there, like in the basement. You know, the Bills are damn near one step from the penthouse. The Browns in the basement. Give me the Bills minus the 10.5. I think the Bills are going to slaughter the Browns in Cleveland. Over under 41.5. I'm gonna take the under. I just don't think the Browns will generate too many points. I don't think they'll be shut out, but they ain't gonna generate no points. Not enough to hang with the Buffalo Bills. I just don't think so. Give me the Bills minus the 10.5, and I'll go under on the 41.5. That game's at 1:00 Eastern. Next, we got the New York Jets and the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. Saints are favored by 5.5 with over under 40.5. Hey, don't look now, but the Saints been picking up a couple of teams lately. They pushed New England. They picked off Carolina. And they picked off Tampa Bay. Don't look now, but the Saints have been picking up. They've been doing well, doing some damage against some pretty good teams. So I wouldn't thumb my nose against the Saints no more. They may be out of it for this year, but they showing hey, we ain't no chumps. That bodes well for the Saints if they can just tweak a few things on defense and get healthy on offense and add just maybe one or two players on offense. New Orleans is gonna be right back in the mix next year. I really think that because they got nothing to lose because they're not going anywhere, and yet they picked off the Panthers and they picked off the Buccaneers the last couple of weeks. So I wouldn't thumb my nose at the Saints, but they are playing the New York Jets. This should be easy. Give me the Saints minus the 5.5, and I'll take the over on the 40.5. The Jets are horrible. Yeah, they're horrible. They need a quarterback just as bad as any of these teams in the league, and they don't have one. They just don't have one, and that's their problem. Give me the Saints minus the 5.5. Over under, I'll go over on the 40.5. 1:00 Eastern, Sunday. Another big game in the NFC South. Tampa Bay -3 on the road against the Carolina Panthers. If you heard me say earlier, Carolina Panthers need this one. Like I said, they've been clawing, scraping, and scrounging for respectability. They can get it if they can get this game this weekend. They'll go a long way towards getting that respectability. Because whoever wins this game controls their own destiny to win in the NFC South. So, I like the Panthers. I think they're going to play above their heads in front of their home crowd because they know this is the big one. This is probably the biggest game they played in at least 2-3 years. This is the biggest home game, let me put it like that they played at least 2-3 years. At least 2-3 years. So they're going to go all out to win this game. And I wouldn't be surprised if they run away and hide from the Bucks with this one. But then again, this is a divisional game, and the stakes are real high. Stakes are real high. But I'll take the Panthers in this one. Give me the 3. I'll take the 3. I think the Panthers will win by at least 1 touchdown. And the over-under 45.5, I'm going to go over. I'm going to take the over on this one, but not by much. This is a big game. But give me the Panthers. That's a 1 o'clock game. Next, Bengals heading to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Both teams, another 2 teams just playing out the string. We got the Bengals favorite at 4.5, over under 47.5. Real quick, I'll take the home team. I think the Dolphins, they're starting a new quarterback, Quinn Ewers. He's going to be the starting QB. Tua has been benched. And for that, I think Miami's going to play over their heads. Give me the Dolphins plus the 4.5 and the over under 47.5. I'm going to go under on the over under. But I think Miami's going to pull this game out. Quinn Ewers, that's right. I think he's going to pull this game out. The Bengals defense stinks. So I think Miami's going to pull this game out. Give me Miami plus the 4.5. That game's at 1 o'clock. Next, got the Chiefs and the Titans. I never thought I'd say this game means nothing. I never thought I'd say that about a Kansas City Chiefs team game, but it does. That's where we're at. Chiefs are favored by 3 with 37.5 over and under. No Patrick Mahomes. No shot at making the playoffs. This game is about as meaningless can be. And Titans are basically playing for draft position. See where they're gonna fall in the top 5 in the NFL draft. That being said, I like the Titans. I think the Titans will win this game. By much. But give me the Titans plus the 3. And I'll go under on the 37.5 over under. I don't think there's going to be much offense to think of in this game. I think there's going to be like 13-7 or something like that. 13-10. Something to that effect. There ain't going to be much offense in this one. So, give me the Titans at home plus the 3. That's a 1 o'clock game. Next, Jacksonville heading to the Mile High City to take on the Broncos. This game will go a long way for Denver to trying to grab home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs. And they will be if Denver can beat Jacksonville, they'll own the tiebreaker against Jacksonville if it ever falls down to that. Denver's favored by 3.5 with an over under 46.5. Denver has been living dangerously, and it's been working. Denver has been living dangerously for the past, 3-4 weeks, but it's been working. They've been winning close games. That's what they've been doing. That's what's gotten them where they're at now. They win close, they win ugly, but they win. Ain't gonna be no different in this one. Give me Denver minus the 3.5 and the over under 46.5. I'm gonna go over under on this one. I think it might be an entertaining game. 1 o'clock, 4. That is a 4 o'clock Eastern kickoff. Next, Arizona and Atlanta. Another 2 teams are just playing out the string. Atlanta's favored by 2.5 with an over under of 48.5. I'm going to say simply because they have just slightly more talent on offense than the Cardinals do, I'll take the Falcons. Against my better judgment. But I'll take the Falcons minus the 2.5. Over under 48.5. I don't think much offense is going to be generated by neither of these teams. I'll go under on the 48.5. That's a 4 o'clock game. Next, Pittsburgh on the road at the Motor City to take on the Detroit Lions. Lions favored by 6.5 with over under 51.5. Like I said, Detroit needs this game. They lose, their chances of making the playoffs go down to less than 10%. Maybe not less than 5%. Detroit needs this game. Because the outcome of the Packers Bears game, they're going to be anywhere from 1.5 to 2.5 games behind. They cannot afford to lose another game. The Detroit Lions. So they need this game. Pittsburgh also needs this game to keep the Ravens off the butt because they're only up by one game against the Ravens and they still got to play them again. So both teams need this victory. Who's gonna get it? I say the Lions. At home, they're damn near unstoppable offensively. And Pittsburgh, like I said, Pittsburgh has been playing a little better the last couple of weeks. But this is Detroit. And in that stadium, that offense cooks, cleans, and wipes the windows. Give me the Lions minus the 6.5, and I'm gonna go over under 51.5. I like the Lions in this one. That is a 4:25 Eastern kickoff. Next, we got the Raiders and the Texans. Raiders are underdog by 14.5. With over under 37.5. We don't even need to discuss this one, really. We really don't need to discuss this one. Houston will win in a walk. With that defense, Houston, give me the Texans minus the 14.5. And I'll go under on the over under 37.5. I don't it'd be lucky if the Raiders kick a field goal. So I'll take the under. That's a 4:25 Eastern kick. The Sunday night game got New England heading to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Ravens favored by 2.5 with an over under 48.5. Ravens need this game. In the worst way, they need this game. Again, both teams need this game. New England after blowing last week's game at home in Buffalo, they need a bounce back. They need a bounce back win to reestablish themselves in the pecking order in the AFC. This could go a long way to doing that. I don't think they'll do it, but it could go a long way towards that. But the Ravens, they're in desperation mode. They can't afford to lose another game. They can't. Give me the Ravens. I'll take the Ravens at home minus the 2.5. I'm going to go under on the over under 48.5. Give me the Ravens, though, minus 2.5. And finally, the Monday Nighter, San Francisco on the road against the Indianapolis Colts. San Francisco is favored by 5.5 with over under 46.5. I like the 49ers simply because Old Man Rivers, he'll give a valid effort again, but it won't be enough against that San Fran defense. It won't be enough. Indianapolis, only way I think they can win, they can do what they did to almost pick off the Seahawks. Run the ball, play controlled offense, control the ball as much as you can to keep the 49ers offense off the field as much as you can. I don't think they'll be able to do it. Give me San Fran minus the 5.5 with over under 46.5. I'm going to take the under on the over under 46.5. That game's at 8:15 Eastern Monday. So, there's my picks for the remaining games in Week 16 of the National Football League. Big O with the big mouth, closing it out for the day. We're going to go recap all the college football playoff games on Monday. We're going to hit on the most pertinent NFL matchups and outcomes from Week 16 all on Monday when we have Manic and Panic Monday. Some teams could be eliminated. We know that. Some teams could be out of the playoffs by this time Monday. We'll find out here on the Total Sports Ozone. Have a great weekend.